best of three here between Keedstars and SK Prime, and after a very strong showing by Keedstars, completely swept SK Prime, and we'll see if they can bring it back here in game two. Bands going on through. It's going to be Kale, Cassidy, and Braum.
All right, so that's, if I memory serves me correctly, identical bands to last time we got. I think it's in the same order as well. Or Kale was after Braum, but either way, nothing's really changed. And for me, we did speak about this a bit in the break as well, that I wouldn't like to see Twitch again, I'm going to be honest. Or if they do pick Twitch to go ahead and try and rotate in those 1v2s that we were kind of half expecting. They have banned Thresh, though, from what I've just seen, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore.
Yeah, so they take that away from Zaitan if you wanted to possibly pick it up. They take away Evelyn, suspiciously enough, so maybe thinking that Winged has a purple side strat for Evelyn there, and taking it away from him. Instead of taking away his Elise or anything like that, his Elise had some very, very effective map control, just completely timing the buffs, doing what he can for it. Jax gets banned away as the last ban away from Smitty, and he'll take in Lee Sin for Broken Shard in the jungle, most likely.
Yeah, that's something that was banned in the first game, and Broken Shard is known for his strong Lee Sin, but so is Winged. Winged is like a super famous Lee Sin player, Korean of course, so that's kind of to be expected. But picking Lee Sin works in two ways. One, it gives Broken Shard comfort, and secondly, you don't have to deal with the terror that comes from Winged.
Yeah, so comfort pick for him. Nami gets picked up by Loop, and Mylon looking for the possible top lane Lulu or mid lane Lulu for Suno. Suno had a very strong showing on that Orianna, just going even with Wadafox and just waiting for his time to shine with those shockwaves, despite missing that one against the wall, but it didn't matter. And Yasuo kind of slipped through the bans here, as it'll be picked up for Wadafox, and Broken Shard is going to pick up Lucian for Haydal or Zayas, whichever one you want to refer to him as.
Yeah, okay, Lucian is so much more in his comfort zone. He is a very good Twitch player before the nerfs, but we spoke about this at length in the first game, in the first Champion Select. I like he's picked the Lucian up. I think he's going to do work with it right here. And I'm a bit behind you. That's Yasuo locking as well, isn't it?
Yes,
from what
yes it is.
Okay, this is like one of his top tier mid laners as well. So already this is shaping up nicely for SK Gaming Prime.
Oh man, and just a swift kick into a last breath for Yasuo, a very strong combination. But from the side of K-Stars, BRTT goes with Kog'Maw. So Kog'Maw, Nami in the bot lane, very strong. You have that range, and you have Tidecaller's Blessing on top of that, just adds so much extra magic damage. And with the changes, Bloodthirster not too relevant anymore. Blade of the Rune King very strong on Kog'Maw, and looking for a possible Elise for Winged, and it does get locked in. So we'll see him on that Elise again. We'll see how he does against Broken Shard's Lee Sin this time around. And as I look at these picks, it looks like they're saving top for last pick here, as they want to counter out Smitty J just a little bit. But they look at Zyra for the possible support for Zaitan, and haven't really hinted at anything for top lane just yet.
Alrighty, well, if they do go for the Zyra, that's going to be pretty scary against Kog'Maw, who again falls into the same category as Twitch, doesn't have an escape, or not a natural one anyway, flashes down. But Kog'Maw with Nami is an incredibly strong combination, because Tidecaller's Blessing, Nami's E, is going to give even more damage to the Bio-Arcane Barrage that fires out from Kog'Maw. The trading potential there is absolutely terrifying.
Gragas. Oh, Gragas for top lane for Smitty J? Gonna go that top lane tank bruiser Gragas? He locks it in, and they lock in Zyra as well, so they needed some knockups for Wadafox. So they're looking to go off of him right now. They're gonna depend on him.
Dude, that's a lot of knockups. Like
Zyra ults, Gragas ults. Can you get a knockup off? It's a displacement, isn't it? So you can get a displacement off of the body slam from Gragas?
I believe so, yeah.
Huh.
So that's crazy amounts of knockups for Yasuo, and they're kind of building their comp around the ult there. But if you look at the rest of their team, they're not exactly huge on damage. That's the one concern that comes to me, that if Yasuo can't get the last breath off, and if Lucian dies early on in the fight, yes, Gragas is very tanky, but he's not the kind of character right now that's going to go ahead and kill 2 or 3 players by himself. So maybe something that's a bit curious about SK Gaming Prime's composition.
All right, and it looks like they're hovering over the Shyvana for Mylon again, so that would hint at the mid Lulu for Suno. So I like it. I like the diversity in SK's side. They have the top lane Gragas. We'll see if he goes for AP. We'll see if he just goes for that flat out bruiser, which I think he'll be going for that tanky style. They did change his Drunken Rage passive, as even if he's interrupted, he will still get the damage reduction, so that's a very interesting buff to him. But up against the Shyvana, that's going to be very rough for him. The mid lane matchups, just Yasuo, so strong, but Lulu can just keep harassing him down. Little Lances can be blocked by Windwall, but Windwall does have a huge cooldown. The bot lanes, this time around, Hadal has the Lucian, but BRTT goes for something a little different in the Kog'Maw, and pairing that with a Nami, very strong, very safe. Bubbles, heals, tidal waves, and extra damage on top of that. While Lucian, Zyra can catch out people, burst them down very heavily, and Zyra has the option to go AP if she wants to burst people down, since they are a little lacking on the AP from SK Prime side.
Yeah, that's a good point. And something as well to mention is, if memory serves me correctly, what Fox actually picked Yasuo against Lulu at DreamHack and did pretty well. He was a bit apprehensive in the early stages because, as you mentioned, there's a lot of range burst that can come in from Suno, or range harass, I should say. But then as soon as he was hitting level 6, he started to actually roam a lot as well. And that's something else you have to take into account. Yasuo, he's a very good roamer. He can suddenly appear at your lane and just burst everybody down, especially with all the knockups that you're looking at on the side. So that could be something that is going to be in the back of Keystar's mind. And I would expect they're going to ward around Dragon a hell of a lot against Yasuo.
All right, so we're going to go into the spectator delay here, and we'll be going to a quick commercial break. So before that, go check out probuilds.net or .com. I forget what the site is, but you can check out your favorite pro players and their builds that they do on the champions that you love. Also, you can check out Logitech gaming gear and apparel. They have the best headsets, mice, keyboards, and mouse. Here with Keystars, the one game lead over SK Gaming Prime. I am Egad, and joining me here is Metas, and we're on to the Rift. We'll see if there's any invades or anything like that, but a very focused lineup from SK Prime, looking for Yasuo to get all the knockups he could want, while Keystars has a very balanced lineup coming in. BRTT on the Kog'Maw, Nami bot lane, gonna be so strong. Suno on the mid Lulu, weighing down the Elise again. Gonna see if he can exert that control he did last game. And Mylon on the top lane Shyvana for his second time in a row.
Yeah, going to be looking to make those ones work for them. And judging by this composition, this is much more comfortable, kind of safe pick, if that makes sense, for SK Gaming Prime. Going back to basics, going back to what they know. And K-Stars have some really interesting champions as well. Now, that first game, I've got to say, Gad, was incredibly one-sided. The Brazilians really coming through and showing what they're made of.
Yeah, so SK Prime, not going to be looking for anything crazy or anything fancy. Just going to be warding up, keeping it passive, keeping it very quiet for now. Haydol's rocking the World Cup skin too, looking pretty fancy with that. Broken Shard's going to be starting blue, while Winged going to possibly look for a late invade here. They know there's a ward in that Tri-Brush though. Do they have the time on it? They might actually wait for that to time out. If they do wait for that, that is extremely well thought out by them. They're going to wait for it to fall. It falls! Are they going to look for the late invade? Oh man, Keystars, so smart by them. Now they're going to look to counter out the blue and try to shut down Broken Shard here. They also hint at a possible lane swap here. Smitty's going to spot them out, and they're going to look for this invade.
They are going in for the invade, and this House You Send was so well played. Knowing the timing is going to be taking away this blue buff unless something crazy happens for Broken Shard. He goes back in. He will not get the smite. Wow. And doing so has to flash away, and that is so badly crippled his jungle now. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that puts him so far behind. They also burned his flash as well. Fox doing a little bit of harass on Asuna there, just dashing on in. And Winged should just jot straight across the map to his blue buff, but will just make a stop at his red and secure that one for himself. Knowing how far behind Broken Shard is, he wouldn't dare invade. But Fox gets the early level 2, starts harassing down Suno, and we'll let these lanes just do their own thing, as it'll be lane swaps coming out from the side of Keystars, as they feel strong enough to go against this top lane Gragas in a 2v1.
Yeah, that seems to be the order of the day. And this is a very smart play as well from K-Stars because, you know, Kog'Maw is vulnerable in the early stages. He is a kind of champion that will scale incredibly hard. So being with Nami at top, getting all the free farm is certainly a smart play. And it's what I was expecting to see, actually, from SK Gaming Prime in the last game, which didn't end up paying off for them.
And with that, Smitty J actually went with Broken Shard to invade at the blue buff. They do secure it for Broken Shard there, and they'll go to the red buff now. As if Winged had just walked straight to his blue buff, he could have denied it from them, but taking a safer route, just going straight for his red and securing that he gets at least 2 buffs. Smitty J's been soaking up XP with Broken Shard as well, so looking to get that level 2 and then possibly teleport up top to a nice big juicy wave that might be waiting for him. Zaitan and Haydol have been doing the same thing though. Mylon's doing a good job with farming with that Flame Breath, but a gank in mid.
Yeah, Fox is going to be struggling here. May very well have to burn that flash. No, actually, he should be alright. Windwall comes out and just about saves that summoner, so he's going to be A-okay. He's going to have to choke through some of his, well, in fact, his only health potion, which is just about to come off. And Winged will be recalling. Actually, just cancels his recall at the last second, instead looking to go into the opposition jungle and potentially steal away these wolves. Or in doing so, actually set up a gank onto Lee Sin. He knows he's stronger right now.
Yeah, so he might contest him at his wolves. We'll see. It looks like he actually is going to be able to bully him away, force him back to the lane. The 2v1 is just doing their thing, pushing down these turrets and getting quite a bit of damage on them. A little bit in favor of SK Prime, though, as they've had some more time with that turret. Broken Shard gets forced away once again. He's down below half HP, so let's be very, very careful. And if Winged wanted to, he could just go straight up to the top side and look for a 3v1 push. But with that cannon wave, just looks too juicy, and BRTT's going to be content farming that one up. And Fox, a little bit of a misplay there, throwing the wall to the side.
Yeah, and Keystar's really just kind of picking up from where they left off in the last game, and that is super aggression, just trying to force down everything. And with that smite and flash, as I mentioned previously, to try and pick up the blue buff from Broken Shard, he really hurt himself in the long run. So he has managed to go ahead and steal away the buff of his own, though, back on towards Elise. But still, Winged is having a lot more presence, having a lot more threat. Elise is coming towards top lane, though, so this could be a potential gank on the cards. No, it's actually just going to go for the white instead. Yeah,
it would be very rough to gank BRTT and Loop right now. So safe. They have the bubble to disengage, as well as the heal to get them the movement speed to get out of there. And Gragas really doesn't have too much chase potential besides the body slam. But it looks like there's a pause from SK Prime's side, and we'll get it resolved very quickly. It looks like Broken Shard actually DC'd, so, you know, you kind of want your jungler in the game. You don't want him to be gone. So they'll just wait for him to reconnect. But we're at a stage in the game where Winged had a really good start, shut down Broken Shard just for a little while, and he's got his buffs. He's done a pretty much full clear, so could look to go back, pick up some mobility boots, or just go for a side stone like he did last game, and look to make either the 2v2 gank down bot, or just go for a 3v1 up top.
Yep, it's looking pretty good right now. Identical form of both AD carries. Another pause coming in, and apparently Broken Shard disconnected. So fingers crossed, Egad, that he will be back pretty shortly to rejoin us. But so far, so good. You know, K-Stars, they're getting the farm on the right champions. We do have the unpause coming in, but What the Fox, however, is managing to keep himself actually slightly ahead of Lulu in mid, and that's the key point for SK Gaming Prime. If he can get out of the laning phase ahead of Lulu, or at least even, that's where big things will happen.
Very true. So we'll see when those big things do happen. But for now, it's going to be big farming for the carries and the mid laners. What Fox has had actually a little bit of a good time against Suno now. Suno running a little low on mana, so he's able to get his harass out and farm up as much as possible. Smitty J, with the help of the jungle that he cleared out, was able to at least come into lane with some good levels and be able to sustain through some of the damage that BRTT and Loop have been putting onto him. And Broken Shard, he caught up in CS, he caught up in levels, so doing quite a good job in coming back from the little deficit he had. But Zatanna's up top now, so that could hint at maybe a 2v2 fight. But leaving Zayas down bot could be a little dangerous, so gotta keep an eye out for that, as Winged, he wants the Cocoon, he wants to take out Heydal, Broken Shard's down there too, so it will be the 2v2 if they do end up fighting, so have to be very, very mindful of that. As Broken Shard actually comes in for the flank, he's in the brush, he's waiting.
Yeah, he wants to try and wait this one out a bit more. Cocoon misses though from Wing, and that could be so important. Broken Shard going in right now, flash out from Mylon, so he will be okay. But that Cocoon, if it lands, I have to feel that it's going to fall. Top lane, yeah.
They could have followed up, sadly.
Yeah. I gotta say as well, I gotta give props to Broken Shard that you did hit the nail on the head. That even with all the problems he had early game, he's somehow clawed himself back.
Yeah, so attempting for the gank was a valiant effort, but Winged unfortunately missed that Cocoon, so we'll see him possibly go for another gank attempt, and maybe next time he'll hit the Cocoon. But nonetheless, Mylon is still doing a good job, but Broken Shard's coming for the loop around gank again, but Mylon healed up quite a lot. There's a root up top that connects. They're looking to possibly go in on bot lane here, but the Cocoon misses, unfortunately. And BRTT? Oh! Barrels? Not enough.
Not quite enough. But still forcing back the Cogmore, still slightly ahead on farm of Lucian, so in that case he's doing a pretty nice job for himself. But Ziz, we spoke about this before, his main is Lucian, so you have to expect that going into the latter stages here that he's going to be pretty comfortable. But then again, on the flip side, BRT showed in that first game just how strong he can be if he does get some farm under his belt.
And on Kog'Maw, still one of the latest and one of the greatest late game carries in the game too. If you get that early lead, you can just snowball off of it. He'll most likely go for the Blade of the Rune King into possible Trinity Force, or just go straight PD if he wants to. But we'll have to see. It's funny how they just rotated Zatanna up here and it's become the Gragas Zyra support top lane. Just getting all the farm that they can and getting all the harass out. While Heydal, he's done a decent job of fighting with Mylon down there. But Mylon has secured himself a little lead over Smitty J. And on Shyvana too, she can just dive into the back line. Gragas has some tough time closing the distance, so gonna give that one over to Mylon there. What a Fox! He actually has secured a rough 10 plus CS lead over Suno, so that mid lane, his key champion there in the Yasuo proving to work out for him pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. It's gone well for him so far. And we did speak about their composition as well, heavily stacked around the idea of getting his ultimate, the last breath, to connect. And so far, so good for them. Again, Cogmore, though, is just starting to get the farm. He's got a Phage first, so that suggests to me it's going to be a Triforce. It's interesting enough, because Cogmore kind of comes down to two key builds. A lot of people go Triforce, and a lot of people go Blade of the Rune King. So it's interesting that BRT would go Triforce.
Alright, and with this, Winged doing his thing, getting their early dragon, looking for a possible steal though is Broken Shard Sonic Wave, and he gets it! Smite Steal goes in, Broken Shard ward jumps and flashes over the wall. Well played, and unfortunately that pink ward didn't spot out the ward in the dragon pit, so Broken Shard was able to get off that Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, and then just a simple smite and takes it away.
And that, ladies and gents, is why he is in NALCS. That was a huge play, and one that really K-Stars are going to be a bit disappointed by, because 4 of them actually, 3 or 4 actually did lock themselves down to the dragon to try and pick that one up, and this has allowed the rest of their team just to get the farm.
I can't help but laugh every time Gragas body slams. It just looks hilarious, just throwing his huge belly out there. But the trading up top has been very interesting. Spitty J is going for a Catalyst, so Rod of the Ages looking for his first buy, while Mylon picks up some early magic resist and a Negatron Cloak, looking for some big poke down there. Bubble connects. It
does, but so does the Stranglethorns on top of BRT, so both AD carries will have to back on off. This tower's pretty low on hit points, but Nazir's going to have to choke through some health potions first.
Oh, they dive up top. It'll be First Blood over to Winged. A really good gank to him. And connects the Cocoon, and they were able to just secure it with Dragon's Descent. And a nice First Blood going over to Winged will help him in the jungle quite a bit. Looks like Broken Shard's helping out mid with a push, and BRTT showing no fear, goes forward with the culling.
Well, Bubble does connect, but only on Xyrus. That's not going to stop the culling. However, BRT is going to be okay. Still has his heal, still has his flash, whereas heal is down from Ziz. That's going to be the tower falling, though. Do they want to engage after this one? I'm not too sure they're chasing after. Yeah, maybe giving up. Tidecaller's Blessings came down, so BRT gets the additional movement speed.
And Broken Shard was looking for some kind of knockup to go off of on Suno. Uh-oh, word comes out. He's going to stop both of them? Yeah, he will. A cheeky little glitter lance there does stop their backs and be a bit of an annoyance to them, Suno. So good on that Lulu. Not dying in this lane, and with the blue buff and the Phoenix Codex, that CDR, just able to let him harass out Waterfox quite a bit. As Zyes did end up snagging up that first turret of the game in the bot lane. They're going to keep the pressure on to BRTT and keep them forced back, but that could signal for Wing to go for a little flank behind them. Broken Shard's kind of down there too, though, so both junglers in the relatively the same position. And Wing did pick up that early Ancient Golem jungling item for himself, so he's going to be really tanky at this point. Mylon just trading it up with Smitty J. Just the wet noodle fight all around. As that Spirit Vector's Cowl coming in big to negate most of that damage from Gragas. Considering he's already tanky enough, he might actually look to go all in on this one, but we'll have to wait and see as Wing to make his way down bot.
Yeah, so the Gragas talk not really paying off just yet for them, but again, it's about that composition. It's about the synergy between the ultimates that really counts. So Gragas is just going to try and claw his way through this stage of the game. He's getting some farm beneath the tower right now, whereas on the flip side, SK Gaming Prime putting down a lot of harassment towards this second tower in the bottom lane. They've chunked it down a bit, but their creep wave is starting to run out, so they may have to back on away, especially as Broken Shard is recalling. Cocoon has landed, didn't really have all the follow-up to go ahead afterwards. Nami has very low mana as well.
Yeah, so if they could have followed up with a possible bubble there, but Nami had no mana like you said, so they got the Cocoon, they got some good harass, they forced off Haydal just a bit, but they're not giving up this push down here. Culling comes up, he just uses it immediately, pushes out the wave, and he currently has 1,800 gold in his inventory, so gonna be able to pick up a bit of the green really soon, but Broken Shard gonna get caught out.
Broken Shard way too greedy for that white Wraith and wasn't even able to pick it up. Cogmore with the kill. That is so important for K-Stars, because we already spoke about how much of a hyper carry Cogmore can turn into. He's got the farm, he's got the kill, and that's also going to alleviate all the pressure at bot lane as well.
Yep, and that's definitely something to get your Cogmore going. He was doing really well in CS nonetheless, but now adding a kill on top of that. Currently has 1,700 gold. Going to be looking for an early Trinity Force, as he does have that Phage, so hinting at that item. As Spinny's up top right now, going to get chased down. Is he going to look for the dive is the question. It looks like the answer is no.
Yeah, diving against a Gragas with Explosive Cask is always a bit of a risk, a bit of a gamble, so better just get the farm instead. 71 apiece actually between both of them at top, so pretty much identical. Gragas does have that death and the assist on Shyvana. Dragon's up at about 1 minute 20, lots of damage from Ziz in mid, and Suno has to back on off, but SK Gaming Prime, you compare this performance to game number 1, this is still leaps and bounds ahead. Top lane, action ensuing, and Mylon trying to chase after this one. The barrel roll does come in. Flash as well, repel in. Is the Cocoon going to land, or does it actually even need it? Wing almost gets the kill. Flash in. Flash was burnt in the process, but here comes re-engage now from SK Gaming Prime. Broken Shard taking point. Does have Zyra. Zyra misses with the grasping roots, but does land the Stranglethorns, and that will be a 1-for-1 trade. And meanwhile, at bot lane, Cosmore goes down to Yasuo.
Hey, Dahl's trading with Suno there. And I thought he was going to look for a kill, but now here comes Loop. Can he find a slow is the question. It looks like he can't find the bubble. He does find it. But not able to follow up soon. It's so low. Tidal wave too.
Flash in as well from Suno.
Wow.
Do get the kill. There's the Wild Growth, very quick reactionary play. And now Wind could pick up the final kill on Titan and does do so with Nami. Oh my goodness, the global action is real, but Keystar's coming out ahead 5-2.
Yeah, for sure on that one. They even get Broken Shard with a bit of damage here. He should be able to get out. Wing does have a bit of damage, but no mana. There's the kick, but not into the turret. They chase down though.
Dragon's Rage was used. There comes Wings, and the last auto attack again from Loop, securing the kill. Broken Shard is playing too aggressive this game. It's a couple times been caught out, and now the re-engage from SK Gaming Prime. This has been relentless action for the last couple minutes, and it could very well be that Loop is the next player to fall. Here comes the final attack from Smitty, and we'll make that one 3-6.
Holy cow, that fight went on forever, but 2 kills on a Loop. He got one with the ebb and flow, and then just flashing for the auto attack to pick up the kill on his Zayas. That is a ballsy Nami, just going completely ham there. Now WaterFox is going to make his presence zone up top, clear out the wave, but Mylon could look for the kill here, decides not to go for it, gets knocked up, but Smitty's here now.
Yeah, last breath and a 1v2, not looking good for Mylon, doesn't have Dragon's Descent, and he will be falling, and that's another kill now to WaterFox. So 2-0 Yasuo is pretty scary to deal with.
Yeah. Very true. He also has 1900 gold, so should be going for that BF sword towards his Infinity's Edge. And he's got his snowball rolling. Actually, no, he's going for a Blade of the Root King. Huh. Alright, so picks up a Cutlass, a dagger. And we'll be seeing that Blade of the Root King finished up fairly soon. I'm wondering why he's not going for the Infinity's Edge. The Blade of the Root King did get that minor nerf, but I guess players still prioritize it. It seems to still be a pretty good item.
Yeah, he can get more auto attacks off in fights, and this is something we did see at DreamHack a bunch actually from him. Played Yasuo 2 or 3 times, always went Blade of the Rune King second. And I think it's also on top of the point that I was making Champion Select, that if Yasuo or Lucian die, their return damage isn't that high. I mean, Lee Sin will scale up in terms of damage, will have to go tanky. Gragas is just a tank. Suna gets caught after the second tower. They're going to go in on this one. Wild Growth, however, will come back. There's a tidal wave. WaterFox goes surfing, but he will survive just for a few more seconds. In fact, he could live through this one. Culling is going to get 8 up from BRT, and now Winged up from the side will be securing that one. Jumping onto Yasuo, who has to flash away just to save his own life. Broken Shard playing bowling, knocking through Winged on towards BRT. Do they manage to survive? Yes, that was a 1-for-0 in K-Star's favor.
That was ridiculously well played by Wing. Now Suno looks like he's still hungry for more, just whimsying past the turret there, but not able to find anybody, unfortunately. And Wing got the perfect timing on that flank, gets the cocoon, helps them pick up at least 1 kill, and now it looks like they'll be able to secure this dragon, as they did lose out of the last one. Pings are coming through. They know there are no more wards in the pit there. So this should be a relatively free dragon to them. They'll even it up 1-1, and they will actually catch up on the minor gold deficit that they are suffering from. Only 200 now down, and they're pinging out to the bot tier 1 turret as they want to make the rotation over there. And this mid tier 1 as well is below half, so could look for one more push to pick that one up. But if you look at the turrets, it's 4-0 in favor of SK Prime, which they've been slowly making their work known on this map and taking down those turrets, but the tier 1 down bot will fall. WaterFox is still chasing on a Mylon though. I don't think he'll be able to pick it up now. He just dashes back, and there goes the bot tier 1.
As if you remember, last time around, it was the complete role reversal with Keystars really picking up all the towers and SK Gaming Prime being on the back foot from the very get-go. So I've turned it back around, looking for that 5th tower now in the mid lane. 4 of them are going to be pushing it. It should be going down right here, right now. Windwall as well from WaterFox is going to be trying to block away any projectiles, and they do get that 5th tower. So you can see, even though it's 4-7 on the scoreboard, 200 gold lead for SK Gaming Prime.
Alright, so now they're going to look to make a play here. They get the knock-up, they get the double man ult.
Oh, a huge ultimate out of nowhere from Smitty J, and also WaterFox now turning it back around. Stranglethorns lands on Cogmore. He gets knocked up twice. He's not going to play any of the first parts of this team fight. He is able to run away right now. Wow. And now the re-engage in. WaterFox lands another Steel Tempest. Mylon does manage to just about survive, but now Cogmore in the front lines is going to be looking to get some damage down, and this is just such a ridiculous amount of action, Egad. Both teams going tooth and nail to get kills.
There was at least 4 knockups in a row there, hitting onto BRTC. He didn't even have to burn flash there, he still got out. Some good peeling from Loop. Just amazing zoning coming in from Zaitan, though. That Stranglethorn was perfectly placed in the middle of the lane there. Scares them away, forces them back. Winged also got put into an unfortunate position, so was forced to repel in, but nothing to repel out of. So, either way, SK Prime, they got their combo off finally. Fox barely lived himself. And with that, it looks like he goes back, finished up his Blade of the Rune King. And the build coming in from Suno, he went for a straight Morellonomicon, so looking for some CDR, some mana regen, and some damage, but it just doesn't feel like it has the same hit as an Athene's. He's got a blasting one, so it looks like he's going for a possible, Death Cap as his second item, if he wants to do that. BRTT doesn't have the humongous lead he did last game. He still got that 1 kill and a 30 CS lead, but it's not the same as the last game where he had 2 completed items over his opponent there. Fox going in on the Suno.
Yeah, looking for some more kills, but in doing so, he's now going to find himself in a 1v2. Last breath comes out, does get the kill. The burst is real, and now Winged is going to be taking all the damage. Does repel on up, but shouldn't get too far because Zayden is also coming round from the top side. And there we go, Zayden actually picks that kill up. And something to mention, he did say this in the last fight, is actually at top lane, more action could be going down. Nope, they're going to be turning back around. But Fox very nearly died, and that's one of the reasons he picked up the Blade of the Rune King, so to keep himself alive and ticking in those fights so he can try and secure as many as possible.
Alright, so SK Prime showing the fight, picking up the kills that they can, and Fox definitely doing everything he can for his team right now to pick up all the kills, and the crits are just hitting so hard at this point, even without an Infinity's Edge rush second. Just that static shiv and then the passive for his crit, just doing work, and 4-0 to show for that effort. As they're now actually going to look to steal away a red buff possibly here. It's going to come over to Heydal. But I think Winged kind of has a hint that they're doing it since they cleared out one of his pink wards, and they'll just have to give it up. And that'll be the first successful counter jungle for SK Prime.
It will. SK Gaming Prime, they're really bouncing back with a vengeance in this game, but still, Keyd Stars, they're in this matchup, Egad. And this is still anybody's match. Cogmore is slowly but surely getting bigger and bigger. Bilgewater Cutlass finished off, so it looks like Blade of the Rune King coming up second. Does out. That's a beautiful Zyra, though. Look at all of the ultimates on top of one another. Winged somehow manages to live to fight for another day for a few more seconds, but now BRT is going to be aggressed upon. Luke lands the Aqua Prism and does secure that kill finally, but BRT should be falling as well, so no AD carry on the board anymore. Mylon is now going to be getting chased down, does flash through to try and pick up the kill on Zyra. In doing so, puts himself in a precarious position though. He's being chased down by 3. He will be finished off there, and 5-0 goes Fox's Yasuo.
Alright, so still it was a 2-for-2 fight, and there was some really good peel there by Keyd Stars. They get the Cocoon. Not going to follow up though, but I think SK have found a little time window where they can try to push, but they won't be able to because Suno is just a monster with this wave clear here. And, so these fights, they're so dangerously close. These teams are evenly matched in this game. At least the blue buff comes through, but a smite steal from Winged does deny it from SK Prime, so good job to him on that one. 50 seconds left on Dragon, so could see teams look to ward up and get towards that area. But I don't think Fox is done. It looks like he still wants to go out and push some lanes and maybe meet up with BRTT as he's dashing through but doesn't find a target to go to. Cocoon connects on his Zaitan, and this tier 1 turret should be looking to go down here. As Fox chases Blade of the Rune King.
And it looks like BRT could also be going down right here. Last breath comes down, and that's all she wrote. The mid tower does fall, but Fox is now going to be able to assert his dominance at bot lane, and they're going to have to get themselves across to deal with him. In doing so, Baron could very well be on the card here from SK Gaming Prime. They've drew out Mylon. They know a couple more players have no mana and have to go back to spawn. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to go for right here, right now.
Oh man, this is... Okay, they're going for the bait instead of just going straight up for Baron, so I like that call a little bit more. And they're going to wait to see who comes up first. It looks like Sonic Wave comes through, he gets the war jump, the kick into the wall. Alright, Loop.
Yep,
getting taken on a ride.
Not long for this world. He goes down, and with that pickup, 20 seconds on the Death Chamber, that is going to be Baron started. A bit of a dodgy culling, though, from Ziz. Doesn't catch all of them, but they're starting the Baron nonetheless. Yeah, it is.
Wings
could pick this one up. He's gone up a bit too soon, though, on the rappel, and they can see that they ease off the accelerator here, SK Gaming Prime. They want to try and make sure they pick this one up before Wing can get close. Cocoon comes on through, lands on Smitty J, not the one they're looking for, and all of the CC lands on top of Wing, and that will definitely secure the Baron unless something crazy happens here from BRT, who's trying to go one-on-one with Gragas, could potentially pick up this kill, but that is Lee Sin. Broken Shard takes down Baron, and SK Gaming Prime will pull themselves back. What a great game this has been.
Alright, so this time around, SK Prime find a little lead. They get the Baron buff, and no throws were had that day, or this day for that matter, as Wing gets picked off and Luke gets picked off as well. So some good warding this time around by SK Prime. They learned from the last game, and they put into effect this one. As you can see, some really good ward coverage over by the opposing red buff and Keyed Stars. They have a huge turret lead at 5-2. They have a 4,000 gold lead at this point. And, you know, Wada Fox has kind of been playing that assassin role. He's been camping out brushes and waiting to see if anybody goes to solo push lanes because he knows his limits, and he just keeps on critting through it. It doesn't matter and doesn't care. But it looks like he'll go for the team objective in the Dragon this time around and make that the 2-1 in Dragons, as SK Prime should be able to snag the one up fairly easily. And looking a little bit rough for Keyed Stars this time around, but they can still come back. The Kog'Maw, when he hits 3 to 4 items, is so deadly. You have to be very careful for that one. And he hasn't even finished his tier 2 boots yet because, you know, they increased the price on the Berserker Greaves.
Dude, Wada Fox is going back to spawn with 4,000 gold to spend. Like,
straight
just,
Edge.
Casual Infinity Edge, because why the hell not? Is burning a hole in his pocket. So, if he wasn't scary enough before, he just took it to a whole new level. He has got his core item build at 26 minutes. Kog'Maw will not survive very long. Even through a wild growth, you are looking at least 80-90% of his hit points are going to disintegrate. So, SK Gaming Prime with the Baron buff are going to look to make use of this one right here.
Alright, so Baron buff hasn't really been put too much of effect yet. It's halfway done. So they did pick up a Dragon, which was good. They're looking to rotate up towards the tier 2 up top. They stole away the red buff a little while ago, and it should be respawning fairly soon. It looks like Keyed Stars, though, have read the movements. They did spot them out with wards, and they're going to be looking to hold up this tier 2 turret. But pings are coming down onto the bot side, as inhibitor turrets can be pressured out by Wada Fox, who is the solo monster at this point. And the wave clear is huge from Keyed Stars, so it's so hard to push in onto this top tier 2. But they can't hold out forever, as it's slowly starting to take damage. There's the Iceborne Gauntlet proc as well from this top tank, Gragas and Smitty J, and Suno's getting dove.
He is getting dove, and that's what I was talking about with this Infinity Edge and What the Fox. He is underneath the tower, though. He can actually be falling. As a result, he has to flash. Ignite comes down. Last auto attack could be enough to keep himself alive, but now Winged is giving chase. They have drew out 2 players to bot lane, though, which means that top tower will be falling. So even if What the Fox is before, he's still done his job. Last breath comes in. He's going back in for seconds. His damage is huge, and he's going to pick up this kill as well.
No, he's got potential for it to not happen.
Oh.
If he gets cocooned, it's happening. Oh,
Are you kidding me? But look at the rest of his team. They're now diving past the inhibitors. They are hungry for blood. They have smelled blood in the water. Zayas could be falling. There we go from Shyvana, who will be dropping as a result. So, globally 3 for 2 with a tower down as well. And this is going to be a lot of damage put down on towards this inhibitor tower. Broken Shard gets caught from the cocoon. Gets bubbled as well. He will be falling from the huge CC, the huge skill shots from Keyed Stars. Now chasing after Smitty J. And that cocoon could have made all the difference right there on Broken Shard. Smitty J is super tanky, but he's not going to be able to deal with 3 players chugging him down. Finally will be falling, or will he? Somehow he's still alive. Very reminiscent to a few moments ago with Yasuo. He's still running circles around, and there we go. Will finally be at Bite the Dust.
Alright, so after what was like a 4-minute fight in and out of Keyed Star's base, Keyed Star hold. Amazing play by Wing to take out a Wada Fox there. And like I said, it wasn't over there. He just had to wait for his cooldowns. He had to hit that cocoon. If he didn't, he would have died. But nonetheless, Keyed Star hold. They pick up, I think, about 4 kills there, as Titan was the only one to survive. And SK Prime getting a little too antsy there. Wada Fox knows that he's very strong. He escaped from Suno, but couldn't escape from Winged. And some more life coming in from Keyed Stars. They're gonna give BRTT his red buff now, so he can kite a little bit better. Suno gets blue, so he can keep on stopping them from pushing in. But Wada Fox, he's almost got his Mama Mortius. He's got the Infinity's Edge, Play the Rune King, and Static Shiv. Pretty much critting almost every hit. Gotta be very careful for those tornadoes now too, because it'll just lead straight into a last breath. But I think Keatstar's maybe looking to group up and possibly push down mid. Now they ping back. Alright, so they're not going to go for anything crazy just yet. But Waterfox has been left to his own accord and is at 300 CS at 29 minutes.
Oh yeah, that is a very, very big Yasuo right now in this game. Kog'Maw, you know, he was getting decent farm in the laning phase, but he's been shut down so well from SK Gaming Prime that he's 1-4. Blade of the Rune King and Triforce only in around 30 minutes, so he's not going to be that kind of stage of crushing players down very quickly. Baron is up in about 1 minute 45, Dragon's up in 1 minute 50, so if SK Gaming Prime can just assert their dominance in this ward war, they're going to be in good position when Baron does respawn. If they can get one pick off, which let's face it, their comp is designed for, they can then transition quickly onto Baron and try and rinse and repeat from a few moments ago.
Nice little wall comes out to block the Cocoon, and 5 members of Keystar are grouped up in the mid lane, so they're going to be able to hold off for quite a while. Smitty J just making sure that the lane up top does end up pushing through. And the bot lane for Keatstars has built up quite a bit, so it'll push on its own. Baron's up in 1.5 minutes, or 1 minute and 15, and Dragon is the same. So 2 big objectives spawning very relatively soon. Gonna see possibly some big points of fight over there. And it's just a matter of time for SK Prime to wait it out. They have a lot of good warding this game around. And if they get any kind of kick on a Suno or any kind of kick on a BRTT, that's going to be a huge collapse for them, and they're definitely going to try to snowball off those kills. But the same can be said for a Bubble or a Cocoon from Winged or Loop, or if Suno gets a slow on a correct target, because Haydol will just blow up instantly with all the damage that they have from Keatstar's side. And Smitty J, I haven't really talked about his build, but he's got almost 40% CDR at this point. Or he's got about 20% right now, so he's got halfway to 40% to be maxed out. Iceborne, Gauntlet, Rod of Ages, and a Kindle Gem. So going to be seeing what he builds out of that. But a pretty solid top Gragas build nonetheless. Able to slow and just keep on that target without taking too much damage, even with his Drunken Rage passive. So we're going to see what they want to do as they hint at Baron. It looks like they really, really want to go for Baron, but that's pretty dangerous.
It is, but will they go for the same tactic as last time and try and trap? Because there's one thing right now that K-Stars are lacking on the Baron Pit itself, and that's a ward. They have no vision of what's happening. SK Gaming Prime, they are locking themselves in, going out. This is maybe a bit premature there, but Volatile Spiderling was going to go and try and scout out the bush. Shyvana's at bot lane, actually, right now. So that could give them the go-ahead. They have incredibly fast Baron clear. You can see already, it's just plummeting down. In actual fact, Keystars are not going to get close before this Baron falls. And now the re-engage comes about. BRT's been caught. Stranglethorn's narrowly missing out, but now they're going to turn tail on Wing. Shyvana is still at the bot lane. Does have teleport available if they so choose, but still, Baron and a bunch of summoners were burnt in the process there.
Unfortunately, Waterfox wasn't in range for when that barrel connected onto BRTT. So he couldn't just last breath him and then try to pick him off and try to end the game off that. But some good split pushing coming in from Mylon nonetheless. But they do lose that Baron buff. It is pretty big to them. And it looks like the 4-man push is going to continue down this mid lane while Mylon does back on off. He does pick up a Banshee's Veil too. His build has been progressing along a little slower than normal. Has the Banshee Sunfire, now needs his Blade of the Rune King and possibly a GA with that Chain Vest. Dragon, going to be the 4th one of the game, going over to SK. And they'll go back, they'll spend their copious amounts of gold that they have. 1,500 on Haydol 2K, on Zaitan at this point, and 1,500 on Broken Shard. So good to see them finishing up some items, picking up some more damage. And looking for a push now with that Baron buff. As Keatstar, maybe looking for a bit of a brush camp gank.
I also like to correct myself as well. I said a bunch of summoners were burnt. It was only heal for BRT.
Yeah.
So it's impressive that they're able to escape that situation by just using the heal summoner. I honestly thought a couple flashes were used as well, but this is something we've seen from Fnatic in the past, but they are going to be recalling or kind of flirting with the idea. And this is pretty much just against Yasuo. They've realized that What the Fox has constantly pushed this lane. Unbeknownst to them, though, they've just found out that he's now pushing top instead, so they're going to have to back on off.
Alright, so Haydol in a bit of a precarious spot. Doesn't want to get jumped on. Gotta be very careful with the positioning. Already ate a turret shot there. But this wave should be melting down fairly easily. The turret's going to take some damage, but it's going to be a slow chip because they do not want to extend too far into the lineup from Keatsars because there's so much damage coming out from Kog'Maw right now. Just pouring out. Cocoon connects, but nothing to follow it up. So just Winged, making sure that he can hit those cocoons at this point. And he'll keep the pressure mounting as it's still very possible for Keystars to come back. They are only 9,000 gold behind. And it's going to be the slow waiting game. Got to be careful. The root connects as well as the Sonic Wave. He's not going to go into BRTT, though. Doesn't want to get bubbled or stunned up. Smitty J just able to tank up all the damage. Takes literally nothing there. Able to just shrug it off. Picks up a Negatron Cloak, too, to mitigate some more of that damage. As most of the damage coming in from Keatstars is magic. The turret looking to be the main focus here. Zai is going to get bubbled up.
Yeah, Dragon's Descent. Oh, the wall growth as well. Double knockup for the side of Keystars. But Wink was slightly out of position. He had to back on away. Kog'Maw eating all of the culling. He has to flash just to keep himself alive. And in doing so, they've repelled the onslaught, even with that really good engage. And there's the knockups. There is Lulu getting demolished, and now the follow-up damage is coming out aplenty from SK Gaming Prime. They picked up 3 kills, they picked up the inhibitor as well, and they may very well try and finish right here, right now.
Wow, I don't know how they turned it around. That was a 5-man Wild Growth and Dragon's Descent. That combo was perfect. BRTZ is going to get dove on, he's going to get crit to death, and what a fox. 9-1 on this mid Yasuo. We do have the Carapace coming out for Kog'Maw, picking up a cleanup kill there on Smitty J. It's gonna be game. It'll be tied 1-1. It's gonna be a game 3 between Keatstars and SK Prime. They learned from that last game. They learned to ward heavily, and they made Keatstars pay for it. And now it's gonna all come down to this determining game 3. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this match. We have another one for you guys too, as it is gonna be Ninjas in Pajamas versus N Faculty. So another hype set to come up, but we'll be right back.